those who say, be patient and wait, we must say that patience is a dirty and nasty word. We cannot be patient. We do not want to be free gradually. We want our freedom, and we want it now. We cannot depend on any political party, for both the Democratic and Republican Party have betrayed the basic principles of the Declaration of Independence. We won't stop now. The time will come when we will not confine our marches to Washington. We will make the action of the past few months look petty. And I say to you, wake up, America.
Danny Glover reading a young John Lewis, the congressman from Georgia.
And John Lewis was representing, the young, angry people of the South in the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And his speech was a more revolutionary speech. And, of course, he denounced both parties and so on.
When President Obama was inaugurated, he shook John Lewis's hand. He was on the main stage at the Capitol right there when President Obama came down the steps. Your thoughts on President Obama today, the first African-American president?
I wish President Obama would listen carefully to Martin Luther King. I'm sure he pays verbal homage, as everyone does, to Martin Luther King. But he ought to think before he sends missiles over Pakistan, before he agrees to this bloated military budget, before he sends troops to Afghanistan, before he opposes the single-payer system, which you talked about earlier in your program. He ought to ask, what would Martin Luther King do, and what would Martin Luther King say? And if he only listened to King, he would be a very different president than he's turning out to be so far. I think we ought to hold Obama to his promise to be different and bold and to make change. So far, he hasn't come through on that promise.
When Barack Obama was running for president, asked in the debates who would MLK endorse, who would Dr. King endorse, he said, none of us.
Yeah, that's true. Because King believed, and this actually is one of the themes of our people's history, is that you cannot depend on presidents, and you cannot depend on elections and voting to solve your problems. People themselves, organizing, demonstrating, clamoring, they are the only ones who can push the president and push Congress into change. And that's what we have to do now with Obama. We have to point to what Obama said in the course of the campaign when he said, we not only have to get out of Iraq, we have to get out of the mindset that brought us into Iraq. Obama himself has not gotten out of that mindset yet, and I think we, the people, have to speak to him about that. He was from Afghanistan. I said, what do you think about Obama sending more troops to Afghanistan? I didn't tell him what my position was. He said, we don't need troops. He said, we need food and medicine. We ought to stop thinking that we must have military solutions to the problems that we face in the world. The solutions that we need are the solutions of dealing with sickness and disease and hunger. That's fundamental. If you want to end terrorism...
I'm telling you, the great historian, you have 5 seconds.
If you want to end terrorism, you have to stop being terrorist, which is what war is.